I think a lot of us are using quite a few mods already since launch. Let's say the game needs a bit of fine-tuning, and not everybody wants to wait for the official updates. The first patch we got was much more than I was expecting and fixed a lot of the critical issues the game was having, but there's still a lot of quality of life and gameplay improvements we can get through simple mods, and after trying a lot of them, let's go over the ones I find the most interesting. Right now these mods are nothing crazy, in the sense that it's mainly editing config files and little tweaks to change some values. The real big papa modifications are not here yet, but some of them are surprisingly good, and I cannot see myself playing without them already. By the way, I've seen a lot of, I'm not gonna say gatekeeping, but pretty hot takes on the game balance, so let me just say this before we start. Stalker 2 is a single player game, for now. So you guys do whatever the fuck you want. The spirit that made the modding community so good around these games, especially for all the Anomaly fanboys like me, has always been the ability to tailor the game experience to whatever you enjoy. If you want unlimited carry weight, unlimited sprinting, free repairs, mission rewards giving you 10 times the money, OP artifacts and Hello Kitty weapons, you do you, whatever makes you happy. Deep inside, I don't agree with it, but I will fight for your right to play the game in your dumb, special way. The mods and settings I'm gonna share today are for the experience I personally like, that I think aligns with what the devs have in mind in terms of balance, which is a hard game that forces you to explore, look for stashes, get artifacts, where you cannot progress easily without putting in the work, but an experience that feels fair and rewarding, with no bullshit or artificial difficulty. I'm not saying it's the right way to do it, there's no right way anyway, it's just what I personally like. With all of that being said, let's go. All the links to the mods I'm gonna talk about and the different settings I'm using are in the video description. Read the mod descriptions, some of them have specific steps to be installed, but for most of them you just have to copy the files in your mods folder you can find here. If there's no mod folder, just create it. It couldn't be easier. We'll see what happens later with bigger modifications, but right now using a mod organizer, having a load order and so on is not necessary if you don't go too crazy with your modding. If you want to look into it, check out Vortex Mod Manager and the extension to make it compatible with Stalker 2, as most of the mods right now are on Nexus mods. I will leave all the info with everything else, but I'm personally not using it yet. We're still very early since the game release, and I like to keep things simple. Okay, let's go. First things I changed are stamina, carry weight, and general movement improvements. Not by much, because I think the default values are pretty close to what I consider a good gameplay experience already, so just a little bit of fine-tuning. Longer sprinting with the 25% stamina cost reduction option. You can reduce it even more, but I think over 25% is too much. It makes moving around much nicer, sprinting a bit longer when you need to, without being able to zoom around the zone or even fight too easily either. Lower stamina cost for melee attacks and jumping because the default values are way too high. Being out of breath after breaking 2 boxes or jumping doing some parkour to get a stash was way too annoying. I went with the quarter cost of vanilla values and I'm not looking back. It makes such a nice difference. In terms of carry weight, I only removed the weight of quest items and divided by 2 the weight of ammo, food and medicine. I don't feel adding straight up carry weight is necessary, and that's coming from the biggest of loot goblins. With all these changes, the game feels much nicer to play without breaking any of the core mechanics. Looking for artifacts and making carry weight stamina builds with them is still very important. You will still be excited when you find a good suit with extra carry weight, and using energy drinks or Hercules is still very useful. So a better quality of life without removing some important aspects of the gameplay. At least that's the spirit. There's also a pretty cool vaulting mod available already. It's actually really fun to use, but it kinda breaks the game and lets you go in places you're not supposed to, get some stashes way too easily without solving the intended puzzles and so on. If you decide to use it, I recommend choosing the lower reach options, and in the end I personally decided not to use it. In terms of loot and inventory management, I've been loving mutant loot so far. that adds some loot to the mutants you kill. It definitely makes fighting them a bit more rewarding, and if you want a bit more loot variety, you can use project itemization, which adds a lot of new items in the loot tables, so you're not always seeing the same loot on the people you kill. All this stuff can be sold for extra money, and it's a nice little bonus, without being too much so it doesn't break the game economy. Both of these mods have very specific instructions to follow if you want to remove them, so make sure to check their description if you decide to try them and remove them at some point, or you might brick your save. Large loot inventory makes the left window of your inventory bigger. It's a small change, yes, but I was annoyed at how small the left window was for no apparent reason. And descriptive ammo boxes lets you know directly which ammo type is which. I was getting used to the different boxes, but it's nice to be sure you're grabbing the ammo you want without having to double check all the time. Okay, now let's talk about the game economy. To be fair, if you play in Rookie or Stalker difficulty, I always found the economy perfectly fine, even before the big patch. If you have money issues to repair or upgrade your gear and weapons, you're doing something wrong. You're not doing enough side missions, you're not getting stashes, you're not exploring enough, you're not hunting for artifacts, you're selling to the wrong traders, you're not cycling through different weapons to use your ammo available without the need to buy some, and so on. It's definitely issues you can fix by getting more knowledgeable about the game. And it's even more true now that the patch made things even easier. Veteran difficulty, before the patch, was completely out of whack, yes, and the prices for everything were not making any sense. You just felt you were getting punished for everything you were doing in the game with no reward. Right now it's much better, and some could argue you don't need to change anything, just like the lower difficulties. I still like to use reasonable weapon degradation, because I still find weapons are getting damaged a bit too fast. And even though the new patch increased mission rewards, I still like to use increased rewards with the 1.5 option. You can go much higher, but I think 1.5 time is perfectly balanced. Makes doing missions a bit more rewarding, but you're not gonna swim in money either. You're not gonna be able to buy and upgrade everything, you still need to grind a bit. For the general gameplay, weapons and fight balance, I've been using McLean's better gunfights and realistic damage. They tweak a lot of the ballistics of your weapons, enemy tankiness and how accurate they are depending on distance, and a couple other values. They definitely make gunfights a bit more balanced and interesting, especially if you use the medkits and consumable rebalance on top of them, which makes the healing system a bit more realistic. Healing is slower but lasts longer, same for all the different boosts you get from drugs and food. Overall, it increases a bit the difficulty, but makes the gameplay much more interesting. You can add less grenade thrown on top of it if that's your thing, if you think enemies are spamming grenades way too much, but this doesn't bother me that much. And if you don't want to bother tinkering with every value one by one, you can get a difficulty and economy overhaul like Better Zone. It will cover pretty much everything I've been talking about so far, and you can't really go wrong with it. I personally like being able to customize everything to my liking, but if you just want to play with no headache, just use this. Just check the compatibility issues you might run into if you want to add a lot more mods on top of it. In terms of quality of life, I really like the unlimited saves mod, because why are we limited to 30 or so saves is beyond me. The eye adaptation fix might seem like a small thing, but it kinda smoothies the lighting difference when going in and out of buildings, or just being able to look through windows when you're inside without the sun blinding you. It's still here for the immersion, but much more realistic. And longer days, because the night and day cycle is way too fast. I'm using the 2-hour option, but you can go much higher than that. Be careful, because this mod can have a lot of issues with other mods. It can break some missions too. I haven't had any issues so far with it, but just be careful. I'm having much better performance since the new patch, so I stopped using anything related to this, but if you still have some issues, optimized tweaks and S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 anti-stutter mod FPS boost are the best actually working optimization mods. And they don't conflict with each other, so you can use both at the same time. The second one is not installed like a regular mod, so read the mod description for all the details. And that's it pretty much for now. Keep in mind that future patches might break things or change a lot the balance of the game, making some mods irrelevant, so keep your stuff updated. I was also very tempted to try some of the Alive mods. I've heard a lot of good things about Living Zone, for example, but I'm gonna wait for the devs to fix this. I don't think modders can do really much right now. You will still find the link for it in the description if you want to try it. And if I missed some useful stuff you guys enjoy, let me know. I wasn't expecting to use so many mods so early in the game already, but here we are.